bring the other one up, but tonight we got a guest. We want to talk about that the incident that happened. I'm sure everyone's been talking about it, but the incident that's happened with the
stock market.
Yeah, with the stock market and all the trading and going on. We want to kind of talk about that tonight, so that we got a guy coming on who's obviously smarter and more professional than us. So yeah, we're going to be chatting about that, gaining some intel, gaining some insight, and what have you. And we'll also definitely bring in some other news that's been going on. So yeah, stay tuned.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta love these Apple products.
It'll be pretty good. He should be jumping on here any minute.
I think like that, maybe.
Dave's trying to figure out how to make his laptop stand up. But yeah, so yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be kind of a slower start. We've also got some news to share. I'm going to let Dave start off with anything he has to share, and then I'll jump in with mine.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about our message of unity. We have a message of unity coming out from the Biden administration, how we're all going to come together now. And I guess to kick that off, let's start arresting people who make memes. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
So we have a Florida man who, he might have been a little bit supportive of Donald Trump. And he made some memes of Hillary Clinton back in 2016. And, well, it might have confused a couple of people to try to vote by text. No, is my audio coming in or what?
You're just popping a bit.
Popping a bit. I don't want to pop. Don't want to get hot.
So you don't have to talk right into it.
All right. So, yeah, he made some memes. It confused a few people, and they tried to vote by text. So I guess we're going after him for 10 years of prison time. And he's about 31 years old, so he'll be able to pull that off and probably get out alive after 10 years. But, I think about, what does it cost me as a taxpayer to put memers in prison for 10 years? Let's say 1 year of prison at the current rate of the US dollar and the cost of confinement is about $60,000. And let's say we don't have any inflation from that point on. I mean, what's $60,000 times 10 to my tax coffers? Not much, right? It's worth it.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about it is, well, in my opinion, you think this would be an obvious breach of the First Amendment, though he did technically incite people to vote wrongly. But anyway, so what this guy did is on Twitter, he set up a fake voting thing where people made people think they could text their vote in. And
you got no image on your Facebook, and it looks like YouTube is frozen.
No.
So this dual feed theory might not be working out.
Yeah, shocking, I know. Yeah, I may have to let me play with some stuff. Yeah, that's why I have no feed. Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, so he might just need a better computer.
Oh, hey now. Something just happened.
All right, feed's back. Okay, but anyways, so yeah, that's the question. Yeah, close that one out. All right.
Do we got any intro music?
No, I haven't been doing that anymore. I need to set something up, but I've gotten lazy and want to get right to the point. But anyway, so this guy they're charging him with this stuff. Feed went away again. They're going to charge him with the voter fraud is what they're charging him with. But what I've noticed is it seems like the way that works is not to go all partisan on this, but it seems like, remember when Dinesh D'Souza did, I don't know, what did he do? 9 months in jail or whatever.
I think he donated too much money to somewhere or something like that.
Donated too much money. But there were also people at the same time, in the same circumstance, everything else, who committed the same acts, but for some reason, it seems to, it seems like the way that they charged that had a political bent to it. And he's the only one that got charged. Now, of course, right now, there is states that are going after people specifically. There's that lady down in Texas. She was actually working for a Republican. And she's getting charged. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to keep an eye on it and see what happens. Well, what do you think?
You know, all this effort that the left is putting into convincing me that there's not a deep state and white supremacy is everywhere and I should hate myself, you know, for white guilt or something. It's a pretty big effort on their part, and it's not very convincing. Especially when they come out and say, "Oh, we're for unity, we want to heal everybody," and now they're trying to throw memers in jail. There's one thing you don't do in free societies is throw people in jail over the First Amendment like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I concur.
The freedom of speech and freedom to use your own money as you see fit, and these are important things, unless you're Chinese. But in America, we're supposed to respect those things, and I just see a very, very interesting effort coming from one particular political dimension to thwart these thoughts and feelings and make the group think stick. And it's feeling very awkward when memers go to jail. That's what I'm going to say.
I concur. Yep. All right. Well, I don't know, but let me go ahead and, I mean, he faces 10 years in prison for setting up, I mean, in my opinion, we all know that I'm not the largest fan of democracy, and almost anything you can do to thwart it a little bit doesn't bother me, and maybe I should go into why I'm not for it. I don't like the idea that, okay, in direct democracy or complete democracy, 51% can steal from and or enslave 49%. I don't like that. I don't like any time that you can vote enslavement or vote to take away the rights or anything of someone else just because you're the majority. And the reason our nation was set up in a republic style and not a democracy is so that there wouldn't be rule of the majority, so that the minority would have some voice. Also, when you dig into it, I don't think that people that haven't educated themselves enough to vote on something should be able to vote. And I know that's a horrible thing to say, and I probably shouldn't say that, but that's just my opinion. You know, I think that if you're going to vote on something, you should at least be kind of educated on it. Will you message him and tell him I emailed it to him?
Yeah. Let's just have them
You
come
know,
in.
you should have at least a minuscule education on what you're voting on. That includes people. You should be able to understand and argue a little bit of why you're voting for them, and not just on that nominal level. You should have some kind of grasp on what the issues are. Like right now, we've got Joe Biden in what his first 5 days he signed 35 executive orders.
He doesn't even know what he's signing, according to the
Well, whether he
videos
does or
on the
doesn't,
internet.
according to him, executive orders are the sign of a dictatorship. Those are his words. And he gets in there and he signs more in 35 days than anyone in history. And that's probably any president's first 6 months in history. And some of them are shady.
It's Joe Biden, though. I mean,
Oh,
ooh, I think we just lost something.
we lost the headphones. And keep talking. They can hear us.
Oh, good. At least somebody can. Yeah, so Joe Biden, I don't know. Did anyone expect anything really
Well,
different than what's going on?
one of the ones that he signed was the remember that insulin act that Trump signed in to make insulin cost $35 a year.
No, but that sounds pretty reasonable.
Well, Trump did that, and it wasn't due to come into effect until this next year. So Biden signed an executive order to undo that executive order. And then word on the street is he's going to write his name on that executive order and sign it back in to take credit for it. But because of the delay in executive order, something that would go into effect right now is going to have to wait. And I don't want to just dog on Joe Biden, even though he earns it.
That's politics, the way I see it. I mean, I'm sure Trump probably did some stuff like that too.
I'm
He
sure
likes
he
his
did.
name on good stuff, and he likes to take it off of the bad stuff.
Well, that so-called Muslim ban was a was a list of countries that he got from the Obama administration. All right.
And a lot of this stuff, I mean, propaganda is propaganda. It's how you all spin the image, how you all spin the story.
Yep.
And you can make people just hate Trump because he's Trump, or love Joe Biden because he's not Trump. I mean, no matter whether the election was stolen or not, still millions and millions of people voted for Joe Biden. And it's a scary kind of thought because, I mean, you just see the black clouds on the horizon. That's what he said would happen. He said he would make sure that the coronavirus mandates and everything would stick around, and Trump wanted to release everybody back out into the wild, like catch and release, and people chose this.
I think we need to get a lefty host in here as well, just so that you don't get one point of view from us, you know.
Yeah, but you know how they are. They don't like to come on and stay on too long unless they're running for Congress.
No, I want to get one on here like semi or a permanent part of the show. Well, Evan is here now. We're waiting for him to come on, but maybe we should reach out to Jeff and see if he'd want to come on. You know,
Do you hear me?
we hear you. We don't see you, but we hear you.
How can I share this here? Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Evan's going to come on. He's going to talk about some of the market manipulation that has gone on the past couple of days and what it might mean for the future of our economy. I've seen a lot of people post what's going on. What's this thing I keep seeing about GameStop and what was that? Was it Wall Street Bets? It was a Reddit, a subreddit, and all that. And we're going to break that down as best as we can. I could probably explain it enough so that I only sounded really stupid.
That's why we're going to let a financial expert here go online and tell us how it really works.
Dave could probably explain it so that he sounds nominally smart. And
Well-
so we brought on someone who can break it down for us.
Well, let me first start off by saying that this is just like a conversation between friends. I give no financial advice. I'm not a financial expert. Those are some legal things. So I just want to mention that. And my opinions don't represent those of my employer, past or present. So, just want to bring that up.
See, Jared,
But yeah,
this is how I know Evan's the right guy, because he knows how to come on and do the disclaimer and everything. That's how you know he's the real deal.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that, but I've been thinking about how I would approach that all day, because there has actually been some threats that have been made on CNBC about what's going to happen to these people on the message boards, and is this manipulation, and what are they doing, because GameStop is the major stock that we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
be- Before we get into the threats, let's go through what happened. Let's go through the
All right,
initial
so-
pushes.
Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
All right. What happened? Excuse me 1 second. All right. So what happened was, what happens is, when a stock is traded on the open market, there's a buyer and there's a seller, and so the buyer is purchasing a share and the seller is giving a share up. But see, there's a process called shorting, where an investor can get in between that transaction, and they can actually, the institution will loan the short seller the share, and then the short seller will sell it to the investor who's hoping that the price of the stock goes up, and that's called going long, okay, being long in a position. And then the person who's short, who's been loaned that security by the institution at the point of sale, is hoping that the price goes down, and then that they can sell the share at a later time to another investor who's buying into the stock at a lower price, okay, because they think it's going to go back up, and they're taking a long position. The seller then would sell that share that they they would then buy that share back at a lower price and give that share back to the institution, because the institution had loaned them the share when it was originally sold. Does that make sense?
Okay, so a hedge fund would borrow a share.
Well, it could be anybody.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to buy a share short, yes, they would borrow a share. Go ahead. So a hedge fund would borrow a share, yes.
Someone would borrow a share and sit on it until the price lowered.
No, they would borrow the share when someone else was trying to buy it. So there has to be a buyer. There always has to be a buyer. So,
Okay.
Evan, I want to buy a share, and I go to my Merrill Lynch account, and I type in I want to buy 1 share of GameStop. Now, when I say that I want to buy GameStop, I can either buy it off the open market, or if Merrill Lynch or the intermediary has someone that they'll loan the share to instead of selling it to me, and then they sell the share to me. So I'm not really buying it from the institution. I'm then buying it from the person who's going short, or from the person, or from the hedge fund. Okay. And they want that price to go down. But see, as that share's been traded, so as the share price goes up and down, the hedge fund or the short seller is still on the hook to the original institution that loaned them the share. Okay. They still owe them a share. So at a later date, they have to give them a share. So they want to give it to them. So then they would go and they would buy a share on the open market, hopefully at a lower price, and then they would give it back to the institution, and then they would make the difference.
Okay.
And then the big part of that is about shorting, is if it goes to zero and a company goes bankrupt, they pay no taxes, okay, on their gains. Huge you know, reason why the shorting game is so big, because they did it with J.C. Penney's, they've done it with Sears and other companies like that. When they go out of business, there's usually these hedge funds or these short sellers behind some of the driving down the stock, and at the same time, unfortunately, they fund articles and they pump the stock with bots and things like that online to try to get people to think that the share price is going up so that they have buyers, right, to then buy the shares off them at a lower price so that they can sell them back to the institution and be off the hook for it. Okay.
So you think that's what they were trying to do this time, was trying to run GameStop out of business and just
GameStop is going out of business.
Well, it's all online now for the video game market.
So here's what I have to say. I like the stock, okay? Because you're not supposed to buy something that's going, you can buy whatever you want in this country. And see, that's where I'll get into that. So anyway, what was going on was GameStop has been going down. And it's commonly known that these hedge funds are betting against these companies that are in distress, okay? Because they want to make money. This is how they make money. And I told you about the tax benefit. So as many shares as they can get short on the way down, I mean, they're looking at pure profit, right? They buy it at $5, it goes to zero, it's $5 pure profit, okay?
So what happens is when GameStop goes out of business, they have to pay off whatever shares are out there, right?
There's nobody to pay. Okay, so like I told you, when they get in the middle of the sale, okay, so it's $5. Okay, so Evan goes, I want to buy one share. I go to the institution to buy a share. The short seller is buying the other side of the trade, okay? They are saying to the institution, I'm saying to the institution, I want to buy it. They're saying to the institution, give me this share right now. I'll sell it to this guy at this price. And then later on, I'll buy a share and give it back to you to cover. If the company goes out of business, I'm sorry, it's not the institution. It's actually, you get shares, it's ownership in the company. So it's part of the float that's out there. That's pretty difficult. But what I'm trying to say is that there's nobody to pay. If the stock is worth zero, you owe them shares. If the shares are not worth anything, then there's no shares to buy. So theoretically, there's nothing that you can do except you just reap all the profit.
So how does the buyer of the share, the one that buys it to short it, how does he make a profit?
So the one that's how the one that buys it to short it makes a profit. So I go and I want to buy one share at, say it's trading at $10 a share. I say I want one share. As I buy, the short seller gets in the middle of the transaction and buys the share before me and sells it to me simultaneously. Okay.
Oh.
And now they owe a share back to, okay, or the money that the share cost. Let's just call it the money that the share cost. They owe a share back to the person that made that transaction. So now you got John, the short seller, and Evan, the long, okay, and we both have it at 10. All right. They sold it to me at 10. I bought it at 10. And the institution, they just want their share at the end from the short seller. And the guy that wants to go long, he wants this share price to go up. And, this is spread out over millions of shares. And not every time there's a transaction is there a share shorted at the same time. Okay. And I'll get into that in a little bit about why these hedge funds got in trouble. And it was because they were over 100% of the float, the outstanding shares that you can actually buy of the company that are available. They had shorted the institutions had allowed them to short over 100% of what was available because they're greedy. So anyway,
had they just gone even, they wouldn't have been in trouble. But where they went into the overdrafted their shares, the available shares.
Well, no, they would still be in trouble, and I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so now just in that situation, say a hedge fund, okay, they get in the middle of a transaction between me and the open market, okay, buying a share of GameStop, okay? So they shorted it, all right? And say they shorted it at $20 a share, right? And say they took 100 shares, so that would be $2,000. I'm doing real small math, but say this was $1 billion we're talking about. So let's say they got in the middle of $2 billion worth of of trades, right, at $20. Now, when the stock goes down, they're good, because if it goes down to $10, right, then they make $10 per share profit on the 2,000 shares that they have, right? If it goes up to $21, then they would theoretically be losing $1 if they close their position right then and there, okay? Whereas they would need to go out onto the open market and buy a share for $21 and then give it back to the institution, and their position would be closed as a short seller. The long still has his share. It has nothing to do with the short. It's all over the, millions and millions of shares, okay? So even though they step in between a trade, it's over the entirety of all the stocks that are outstanding, okay? So what happened here was they did do that. So there were still some investors that were buying GameStop at $2,000 or at $20, and these hedge funds got in the middle and they shorted the stock because these investors are dumb, and where they were investing into GameStop, a brick and mortar company, and then a pandemic hit, and so the stock began to go down. So what happened was these Reddit guys and gals got together and they said, we know that these hedge funds are shorting the stock. And if we all get together and we buy shares of the stock price will increase, and it'll continue to increase because these institutions will start to have to sell off their shares at a loss, or and all these things will start to kick in because they owe these shares on the open market. But unfortunately, and they already knew, the Reddit people knew that these scumbags, these hedge funds, okay, they do dirty tricks, like they do more than the float. So in this case, there was something like 148% of the outstanding shares were shorted.
Holy shit! Really? That's.
So here's what I'm saying. So they were allowing hedge funds to short shares that weren't being sold. So, for instance, how I told you got in between the sale of me and John. Okay, I go buy a share. I say I go buy one share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Short seller gets in the middle. They were allowing the hedge funds to get like 1.48 shares shorted for every one share that was bought. You understand? So now,
yeah, they inflated the shares. They're
they inflated the amount of downside pressure that they could have on the stock. Okay, but the unfortunate thing with that is that you can then have a squeeze, which is what happened, and that is when people start to buy. They drive the price of the stock up. Okay, as the price of the stock goes up, these hedge funds are on the hook for billions of dollars. Okay, now you don't lose anything till you sell, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is that hedge funds are hedge funds. They're hedging their bets, which means if, say they have $100, say I have $100 in the bank in my account, maybe I get a margin for 10%. So I can trade $110, right? So $10 on credit. Let's put it that way. In fact, let me give you a real world example. I have $25,000 in the market. I think that they'll give you a $25,000 credit line. It's about 1-to-1. Now these hedge funds are about 50-to-1. So they might have $1 billion, but they're trading with 50 billion. Because what they do is they're pirates. They take the float from MasterCard and from all these clearing with the houses and things like that, and they trade it on the open market and then pay back the company at a percent. So say they get money from MasterCard with all the transactions that are clearing this week. They say, hey, wait, give us that $100 million for the week, and we'll give you 6% at the end of the week. But see, they're using that money as capital to trade, and if they make 12%, then they made 6% too, and they didn't have to put up any money, and that's the problem. They don't have any money. They didn't put up any money to short this shit, and they thought it was going to zero, and now they don't have the money to cover. Okay, so as the stock continues to go up, they owe the price of the stock plus all the interest on the money that they borrowed to do this shit. Okay, so already they had to call in the dogs where the hedge funds are now bailing each other out, in my opinion. Okay, and then number two, you're seeing that what else do we have? You're seeing that they stopped trading on certain stocks. GameStop being the biggest one, but there's about 5 or 6 of them, and they're all companies that they know that the amount of shorts is probably greater than 100%, or the likelihood that they can do this same kind of squeeze is there because they're distressed companies. They chose BlackBerry, American Airlines, Nokia, AMC theaters, stuff that's really hit. So and they're trying to do this, and it worked. It's been working. The stock is up a lot. I think it's up something like 17,000%.
Yeah. So what's going on is these.
Okay, so what I know of right now,
these companies that try sliding in the middle, they tried making money off these hedge funds that slid in the middle tried making money off these failing companies.
Off of us, off
of us by use of these failing companies
who are still buying the shares in the company. Retail investors, they call us, me and you guys, with million in them. But yes, that's what they try to do.
How is that shit legal? And then how is it that them sons of bitches in government are trying to say that people buying stocks, just regular people, are illegal?
Okay. Well, let me. Okay, so what I know
kind of shows you that the government, works for certain classes.
Well, okay, so here's what I know right now about the government. And this is my opinion. From what I've seen from the government, meaning like two of the larger voices in one of the Republican and one of the Democrat Party, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from the left said that, and Ted Cruz actually agreed.
I know when you get those two together, that's
hell's frozen
going on.
So, that's romance.
Let me
snow in Phoenix the other day, so I'm just throwing it out there.
This is the real Occupy Wall Street because see, this is really happening. So let me just tell you one more thing about that shorting. If people hold on to their shares, these shares can go up indefinite. It could go up to $5,000. It could go up to $20,000. It could do what Bitcoin did when there was a frenzy. You know what? Actually, beautiful scenario, just like Bitcoin. That's what it's like with the shorted stocks. When there's a demand for stock, okay? And just like if there's a demand for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has a finite amount, right? It's being mined every day, correct? And it increases, but they know how much it's going to increase, and they even have it broken out to like the date that it's going to stop, correct? The total amount of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Or
That's
am I
correct.
wrong?
Do they know the date, or they've got an estimate? But
they know the date. They know the date.
But they know the ceiling of how many Bitcoin are going to be there.
Correct.
Yes, they
got
do.
a hard ceiling.
So it's a great analogy because you know what? With the shares outstanding of a company, unless they issue more shares, the shares outstanding of a company are static. There are this many shares outstanding, and this is the price per share. Okay? So if just like Bitcoin, there are this many Bitcoins outstanding, this is the price per Bitcoin per the demand, right? Now, when you have a whole bunch of buyers come in buying the shares, and those short people needing to also buy shares, it's almost like double demand. You understand what I mean? Because they have to buy to sell back to the institution. They just jumped in the middle of a transaction and made a promise. They did not get a security. They were not given anything. They made a promise they made a promise to buy it back at a later point. Okay. And then give it back make the transaction whole. They've made that promise. Okay. They pay a premium to do that, and this works, this is how the market works. They get in the middle of that transaction and they're able to make a promise. Okay. In this case, they promised 148% because they knew the shit was going to zero. They weren't going to have to pay any taxes. But guess what? A bunch of idiots from the internet started putting 2,000, 7,000, 3,000 into GameStop, pumped it up to $300 a share. Okay. So, it was like $324,000 a share, or $324 a share.
Yeah, it ended up there. It went from.
What I'm saying is, if right now, okay, but what nobody understands is that right now people are on the hook for $320 a share to complete that transaction. You understand what I'm saying? And
so,
until they can,
Evan, just to clarify, these people made a promise to get the institution those shares. So
yes,
no matter what, they have to get the shares. So they have to keep raising the price until someone buckles down and
no. Listen to me. Yes, they have to get the shares, and that's why if they go to zero, there are no shares to get, so they don't owe anything, and it's just pure profit. Okay? So what I'm saying is, yes, they have to get those shares. They have to go get those shares. So if there's a lot of buyers and there's a lot of people that need to go get those shares at the same time, and that means there's a huge supply and there's a huge demand and there's no supply. And to make it even worse, these people made promises for shares that didn't even exist because they just figured that people would dump them when the price of the stock went to like $1, people would just say, fuck it, just get rid of them, which people do. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, this is a family show. But, so that's what they did. And it's so great because these fucking hedge funds, they owe billions with a B. They're done. It's over. Okay, so what happened was today, they stopped trading on platforms. They stopped allowing you to buy any of these shares in these companies. Okay? And that is what the big stink is right now. They took away the power of the free market from the people today.
Okay? Yeah.
And the people, okay, and the stock sold off, and some of these billionaires got the cover down around $100 a share. Okay? But guess what happened this afternoon? When they started allowing it, and people started saying that they're going to sue Robinhood, and people started to come on, and people started to, and they have the Robinhood CEO. This is the biggest. I'm going to tell you something right now. There's been movies about everything you saw, this and that. There will be movies about this. This might be the biggest thing you've ever seen before in your life, and I'm going to tell you my opinion. This will be our transformation to digital currency, and this will be our transformation to a completely digital stock market, so that these intermediaries do not exist anymore, and stocks will be they'll be digitized as coin. I mean, and they'll be worth say BlackBerry will be worth 22.3 Blackberries, whatever their whatever their
tokenized
the value is on the stock market. It'll be a coin for whatever the dollars. It'll just be done like that on the blockchain. Excuse me, it won't be like a coin. It'll be done on the blockchain where you don't need to have like these intermediaries and these clearing houses and stuff, because that's what happens. They allow them to leverage themselves so much that, see, this is the problem. If people right now, okay, if the institution, these companies are on the hook for these shares. So if they're trading at $300, they have to pay the interest on the money that they were loaned to do the deal, okay, into infinity, because they don't have the money to pay it back, or they have to buy the shares back at $300, which would be even more than the interest would cost them, in 50 years, so they're done. It's over. It's over.
Well, I mean, and these same shenanigans have got the nation into trouble a few times.
It's true. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if this is going to be good or if this is going to be bad for the market, because
or for the world, not just for the market, for the world. I mean, this,
say something else too. I mean, GameStop isn't worth $300 a share.
it's,
These people are doing this on purpose.
well, yeah, these Redditors are trying to break these, these short sellers. That was their goal.
Yes, they did. And that is going to be the question that is going to be in the hearings, okay? And I'm just going to say it right now. I love it. I love I love that to hear that the little guy is making it. But hear me out on this. If it was, if a bunch of hedge funds get together and they do something to the share price of the stock to manipulate it because of their feelings, they would probably be in trouble for that. So there's some areas that are kind of gray, because when you invest in stocks, and the trust in the market is that people buy stocks based on the valuation of the company's future earnings. Okay. So stocks trade at a multiplier of what it estimated future earnings. Okay. So say like Tesla right now is trading at 10 times what it's worth based on its potential, right?
Uh-huh.
And people faith in the market and do that. Well, GameStop is trading at 100,000 times its worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, GameStop's dying because of not just because of the pandemic, but GameStop has a market that met the same market that Blockbuster met.
Yeah, but don't miss the point with GameStop. Let's forget about GameStop as a company. GameStop is just being used because
it's just a tool.
Company. That's it. Yeah.
But don't forget, it's been a tool on both sides, because it was a tool for these hedge funds first.
Oh yes.
And the Redditors decided to beat them at their game.
You know what? You're absolutely right. But yeah.
So can we as the people say, that's fine? You want to lay charges on these Reddit people? You better lay charges on all the hedge funds. And you know what? Let's do it historically. Let's lay charges on the hedge fund groups that put us into trouble in 2008. But
here's the other thing. It's free speech. Well, here's my argument, because I'm going to be on the other side. I just wanted to present that argument. I heard you talking before I joined.
I'm a complete free speech guy.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to make the argument before, the argument, that's going to be. But my argument is, look, what about free speech? And people are not being paid, just like me coming here and talking to you. I'm not being paid for my advice. Yeah. Now, if you're Merrill Lynch or A.G. Edwards, you're being paid for your advice. Therefore, you have different fiduciary duty. Okay, if you are part of the free market, your duty is to yourself, right?
Yep.
So what happened today was you could sell your shares of stock, but you could not buy any shares of those companies, which drove on some platforms, not all, which drove the price of the stocks down so that some of the shorts could cover. But I don't believe that they've covered all of what they needed to get out of their position at these high prices. Even if they wrote off $20 billion, I don't think they're out of it yet. I think they were so underwater, and it's so many more. So what we got right now, as I saw it up after hours, it made all its gain back. So, I mean, look, I'm not telling anybody to invest in it. I'm just saying what happened. And, you could, if this stock goes to 1,000, it could break the market. That's what I'm saying, because it just shows that it could shake the confidence in the market, because we really don't have trust at what people are valuing these companies at if something like GameStop has happened. Because like somebody said, GameStop isn't worth that. I mean, you're sitting there looking at GameStop now up in there, valued as high as some of the companies on the S&P 500. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. It's just not. It's really. This is something that's I'm telling you this. I was thinking about it today, and maybe I sound a little hyper about it and everything.
Well, this is a moment to get hyper. This is This is world-changing stuff that happened overnight.
This
me
is
tell you about-
fractional reserve stock marketing.
Let me tell you about one Redditor, though, that I need to make mention of. And if you guys go to the Reddit site and go to Wall Street Bets, that's the name of the WSB, they call it Wall Street Bets. They have, there's a guy there, or gal, I don't know. It's a user, right? Goes by a username Deep Fucking Value, okay? That person has been in GameStop since the beginning of this, like, movement. The last I saw, he invested $57,000, and that was back, I think, around the time the pandemic started. And he's been posting his quarterly and daily gains. Yesterday, he had made $48 million off his $57,000. Today, he didn't sell a single share or call option that he has, because there's options trading in between, but I'm not going to go into explaining what options trading is.
We'll have you on a different time for that.
Please, yeah. But we're just talking about straight.
Well,
shorter.
we may not have to. This shit may not exist next week.
And well, here's the thing. So this guy didn't sell a single share. So all these people are with him and saying they're not selling a single share either. Now, today he lost $7 million of his $48 million, but he didn't lose it, because you don't lose until you sell, right?
Well, yeah.
And they don't lose until they buy. So it's like this back and forth. Like, it's like almost like Russian roulette, or it's almost like chicken. Like, who's got the bigger balls? Who's going to sell for the loss first, right? Who can carry this loss the longest? Now, the hedge funds, they're leveraged like 15 times over. They're paying interest to somebody. They don't got balls big enough. If these Reddit guys get together.
So these Reddit guys aren't out to make money. That guy doesn't sound like he's out to make money. He's out to make a point.
They're out to sink. They're out to kill these hedge funds, and they have the support. And look, this isn't going to crash the whole market. I mean, there's plenty of shit. This might change a lot of things. There's going to be some regulation, but you've got people like Elon Musk. There's a gentleman, I cannot pronounce his name. He's in a lot of these SPAC companies, which are the companies that are bringing companies to IPO without having a lot of the regulation, and that's another topic another day. But he's been real vocal on it, and like some other Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, and and Mark Cuban have really spoke out, like, for the people. I will tell you, I own stock in all of those companies that were halted today. I purchased it yesterday, just as a point. Okay, so I did it as a point too. So I guess if there's any regulation down the road, I wanted to take a chance, and with my money, and I believe in a free market, you should be able to put your money behind whatever you want, even if that's GameStop, and they think you're dumb for doing it. And that's kind of the point. They think we're dumb. They think this Reddit army is dumb. I'm not one of them. I haven't been in it for that long, but they've taken down hedge funds. This is a real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, this is real. This is a real deal. I got my fight on Twitter today with a guy about how this is the real Occupy Wall Street, right?
This is it. This is how it's done. And it was done overnight. Occupy Wall Street went and messed up a park and had a couple of violent incidents and some rapes, and got not a thing done, except for the powers that be came out with critical race theory. But that's just my opinion.
A lot of these kids on Reddit, though, they were those Occupy Wall Street kids.
They got smart. They got educated. They realized you can't beat the rich playing your game. You've got to beat the rich playing their game.
Like I told the guy on Twitter, you want to grow dreadlocks and smell like shit. You're not. Look, you want to make a point and blah blah blah. Yeah, that's cool, but you got to learn how to play the game, man. Because if you don't play the game, you're never going to get over on them, because they got the game. They own the game.
Yeah.
So if you want to play in the fringe and you want to, set fire to a dumpster and pretend like you're doing something, it just costs the taxpayers money, because we're paying for the municipal services that got to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't cost Wall Street any money. Hedge funds made billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They made money on the way down last time it went down, because they were shorting shit back
That's
then.
right.
This is like the movement Bitcoin tried to be.
And they know they know a lot of information, before we do, like way before we do. And
Yeah,
this
don't
Rob,
they have some kind of they get information from the trading, it's some amount of time before the general populace does.
They probably talk to their congressman.
how about this too? We're three guys talking to each other. We between the three of us, we don't know shit, right? No, I mean honestly,
Well,
compared,
I can admit that one person doesn't know shit.
that's me.
No, that's me. You
You,
you
So
know
listen,
a
no,
little, you know quite a bit more than I do.
no, I think I'm autistic with this stuff. I read a lot of it, but I might, you know what? Look, this is my opinion. I might not be right on everything, and I might be just a little close, but I'm trying my best. So what I'm saying is that when people graduate from Princeton, Harvard, and Yale with degrees in mathematics, right? You think that they go become scientists and make $37,000 a year for the National Weather Association? They go work for Citadel and this other company, these other hedge funds. They go to New York City. They go to Chicago. They're the brightest minds. Do you think that these computer programmers, when they come out of MIT and these engineers and stuff, do you think that they go work exclusively for Boston Robotics? No. They also go to these Wall Street firms and they write computer code that can trade based on trends better than we ever could. And all they do is just scrape the money off the top, doing this shit every night with the float, shorting stocks, doing stuff like this. And that's how they make their money. And the only guy that gets screwed and actually has to do their due diligence and actually has to get lucky and actually has to be able to handle those swings. When you buy a stock and it goes to and you bought it at 20 and it goes to 25 and you're like, yes, but then it goes down to 18 and you're like, fuck, I got to sell, because that's hard on you, but it's not. Those computers, and they got billions of dollars behind it, can just trade, without feelings and without the thoughts and stuff. And they don't have to get lucky and blah, 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 and they don't have to have insider information. It's us.
And
We're
they
the ones
don't
that
sleep.
But guess what? This time they got screwed.
Do you think
I don't think
the
that
government would bail them out this time?
Yes.
But wait a minute, let me ask you a question. If they don't bail them out, the only people that don't get paid are these people that got millions from Reddit, or the market disintegrates, right? So isn't this like one of the largest transfers of wealth we've ever seen? It has been in the stock and in the market. I mean, there's been billions of dollars of wealth transferred from hedge funds to this army of people that own this stock, and there's a few others too.
To some college kids and
social justice on the stock market.
So, I mean, are they going to go after personal wealth of the hedge fund managers? I mean, if not, they're leveraged so that they would have to go bankrupt. So right now, I'd probably be shorting the insurance companies because they have insurance too. So the insurance companies are going. So what's going to happen is, you know what? This is actually a great conversation. I haven't really put a lot of thought into this, but now I'm thinking, if they were to default on the promises, okay, they must have insurance, because those scumbags are in the middle of everything. You need insurance for every damn thing you do. My dog needs insurance and this and that and all the other BS that goes along with insurance. But that's another day too. But they need to have insurance on these hedges. I'm sure that the institutions that loan them the money require them to have insurance. So now the insurance companies are going to be on the hook to these hedge funds to pay the people on the other side of these trades. So you might have to see the government bail out the insurance company. I don't know. It could have a ripple effect. And the other thing is that some of these smaller hedge funds or other investors who are short, because there's still people shorting it tonight. I mean, people are shorting it at 300. Why wouldn't you? It probably is going to go down. There is a chance it's going to go down from 300. I can buy it at 300 today, short, and sell it tomorrow at 200. I made $100 profit.
Well, especially it'll go down if these, like Robinhood and that keep stopping the sales.
Well, that's the thing. So AOC, and there's lawsuits being filed in Southern District in New York right now. Robinhood CEO was on CNBC just a little while ago. They are opening up trading of AMC.
Yeah, because he's scared shitless.
Yeah, they
He
are.
just committed some major investor fraud, if you ask
the
me.
damage is done already.
Well, the damage is done, and they are saying that it was kind of admitted on television today that the clearinghouses didn't have the money to take care of these transactions, or the system was gonna break. Gonna break. 2008 moment was gonna break today. Speculation that the system would have broken if they didn't stop buying of those shares, because when they stopped it, okay, so I bought it yesterday at $295 a share. It closed around 360. Today, it was $498 on its way to fucking break 500 when they stopped the trading on those platforms. And the stock immediately dropped to about $100 a share based on that fear. It scared people. But people wanted to buy, because then when it went down to 100, they still weren't allowed to buy, and it shot right back up. You feel me? Because a lot of people would have bought. You know, if it went back down to 100, they would have bought more.
Yeah, had they not shut it down, where would it have peaked out at?
So what does that mean? That means that they weren't allowed to buy. They were only allowed to sell. And who was buying those shares to cover their positions?
The trading houses.
Only the hedge funds that have their own Bloomberg terminals to be able to do it. Not the little guy that's got to go through Robinhood. You feel me? So all of a sudden, people were only allowed to sell. Okay?
So they tried doing if you ask me, an illegal recovery.
They did it. They did it today. They did it. Okay? And they're trying it. But guess what? The stock's back up. I hear more people than ever are going to buy it. I hear people saying, I don't give a fuck if it goes to 0. I don't care if it goes to 1,000. I'm never selling it. Well, I'm giving kid these shares of this stock.
Those people that are buying it, they're not buying it to make money.
No. Well,
okay, I'm sure some people are, but the committed ones, they're buying it to destroy the hedge funds.
And it's attracting people like you and me to go buy one just because we want to be part of this historic moment.
Let's put it this way, too. I was thinking about this, right? So you've got a guy out there that's supposedly got this $48 million, and I believe him, he's got it in his account. If shit goes bad and there's some kind of regulation where he can't collect on that $48 million, this dude's still going to be okay with his book, his movie, his every TV station. You know, all these people from Wall Street Bets that made a bunch of money are going to, even if they lose it all, if they can show that they had it at one time, they're going to make a ton of money in what goes on from here. I'm just saying. But they're doing it as like, they're taking a stand. They're pissed. People are pissed off, man. They don't want to deal with this no more.
Yep.
Because you could go back 2 months ago, and you could see a bunch of articles on GameStop where it said, things might be turning around. Bullshit articles that get published to get these stupid investors like you, me, or Dave to say, oh, you know what? Maybe I should buy some GameStop. I was arguing. I was short. You know what? At full disclosure, I had a short position on GameStop about a year ago where I was actually the shorty. I thought it was going to 0 and GameStop stock, right? I mean, I had the same position. I tried to get a position on Sears. I wish I would have. I would have made a ton of money. I mean, I like to trade the market to make money. I have 2 shares of GameStop right now because I want to be part of history.
Do you think, just standing outside, do you think that this having shorts should be a viable option in the market?
You know what? That's an interesting point. I don't know if I think you should be able to. I think you should be able to, but I don't think you should be able to do it at more than 100% of the outstanding, shares.
Yeah, so, that's fractional reserve.
Yeah,
shit, and that's got to go away.
So this is what gets me into my next thing about whether this is good or bad for the market. It's going to probably take some hedge funds out, but there's going to be hedge funds there to replace it.
Yeah, the vacuum will be filled as long as we leave that.
Well, the vacuum is going to be filled by people that want to make money by way of hedge fund, because hedge funds aren't hedge funds make money for people. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people make money. So, but a lot of them do shitty stuff. So, but hear me out. Now that hedge funds are going to come, there's still hedge funds. There's ones that didn't go under. They're still going to have to invest in the market. Now, if they don't invest on the bear side, that means that their investments will go more towards the bull side and alternatives like Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So I see, if I were thinking right now, and Bitcoin is up right now, I think that you're going to see I think you could see potentially a lot of people that used to short shares be a little bit more skittish about doing that to some of these, or maybe not. I mean, maybe this is just a bunch of shit posters that got together and changed the world, and things will go back to normal, and there'll be some regulations put into place and things like that. But I don't know, man. I don't think that they should get rid of shorting. No, but I don't. I haven't really given it enough thought because I think people should be able to take the risk of the downside. And it takes some of that risk off of the market, and people make money, and then that money is redistributed into the system and the market and everything. And the stock market is the single best generator of wealth over over the long term for any person. It's better than any investment. I'm diversified in a lot of things like real estate and everything, but it's the easiest. It's got the lowest entry barrier to entry. So I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I certainly hope not at this point. But
Well,
it is something.
I guess that I don't know enough about it to make that decision, and that's why I asked. Because I know, wasn't that a part of the 2008 when they were doing shorts on housing mortgages?
That 2008 thing.
I mean, it involved a lot more than that, but that was a substantial part with shorts, not just on mortgages, but also on car loans.
Yeah, well, what was going on was they were packaging all these loans together, and then they were selling them off as good debt, even though they were subprime. So they would package a lot of subprime in with some good credit to then sell it to these institutions that hold it and collect on it. In the future, because a lot of these are just intermediaries, like the mortgage company, and a lot of these bankers, these big banks, they sell off their portfolios of loans to people that get things like annuities. Have you ever heard of annuity? Hey, you give us X amount of money and we'll give you, you have an annuity over the certain amount of years and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's how they can do annuity, because they have other kinds of loans that are paying a little bit more than they have to pay on the annuity. And then, it all comes out in the wash. The financial system is very complex, but
There's one thing that I know is definitely not complex about this. So
what's that?
you have the little guys up against the big guys. Now,
Yeah.
the little guys are starting to get an edge, and then all of a sudden, one thing I've noticed, like corporations and really powerful people, they love to talk about free market when they're making a profit off of their investments. But as soon as they make a loss, they want to socialize that loss onto the population. And the best way to do that is, oh, Mr. Congressman. And before you know it, you can actually have Robinhood stop the sale of products and only accept the buy
Actually,
of the stock.
They stopped buying. They stopped buying, not sell. They wouldn't let you buy on the free market. They did not allow you to buy those securities on the free market, therefore driving the price of the stock down.
But then, therefore, is it a free market?
No, it's called market manipulation, and they need to go to jail. They need to serve prison sentences. I think that there's going to be a call that a lot of these hedge fund managers, a lot of these people that made these decisions, they need to, if it comes out that they've done certain things, they need to go to jail. Period. A full stop. And I think that they need to be held accountable for their losses. And if they have to go bankrupt, like people had to go bankrupt in 2007, in 2008, okay, and then the insurance company or the bank had to come in and take their house or whatever, they're going to have to do the same thing, aren't they?
I agree.
Okay? Why is a hedge fund any different than than the normal investor. In fact, they're a company that's their business is to hedge bets. And if you're not good at it, or if you lose, then you shouldn't be in business. Just like GameStop, right? I mean, that's their theory on GameStop. I mean,
the honest fact about GameStop is on the way out. The only way GameStop could survive is if GameStop moved into a online model like Steam or whatever that one Google's putting out now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let me tell you that the CEO of GameStop is a young man. His name is escaping me at the moment. I believe his first name is Sean. You'll have to look it up. And I believe he was a CEO of a company called Chewy, and they do like pet food delivery.
Yeah.
So and they're all online. So they might be pivoting into another space. You never know. I mean, they could be going out, but you never know. They could be pivoting into another space. And of course, as a shareholder and GameStop, I hope they do.
Did GameStop make any money off of this itself? Did it? I mean, with outside of GameStop buying up some of these shares under a different name, would they recover any money under this itself?
If GameStop as a company, they could borrow against their valuation, but who the hell's going to loan them money against this crazy valuation? It's not real.
See, that's my big thing. Let's say GameStop made a little bit of profit to pour into some.
Don't get me wrong. The people that work for GameStop that have, that corporate that have shares in GameStop are making money. They've made a lot of money.
See, it would be neat if GameStop was able to make a little money off of this, hurry up and punch out a model like Steam or something else,
Well, I'm sure GameStop as a corporation owns some of their own stock. So, yeah, they've made a lot of money. But, they would have to sell it. And then look, I mean, nobody's going to give them, it would be nice. Nobody's going to, I don't know who's going to loan them money against this crazy valuation. But
on this inflation, no.
Listen to me. It's not bad for them. It's not bad for them. I mean, look at BlackBerry and look at AMC, the movie theater. I mean, they're trying to come back. I mean, GameStop is trying to come back too. This isn't bad for that. Don't get me wrong.
This stock here in Twilla, don't we?
Yeah,
makes me want to go down there.
You know what? You should go
by it today and eyeballed it.
I heard a lot of the people on Reddit are going to start taking some of their profits and going down and buying the entire store. So everything in the store, give us everything at every store. Do that at every store, and that'd be pretty cool.
And that'll keep GameStop alive. And
you know what they were thinking about doing is donating all the stuff that they got to the Boys and Girls Club or a charity in the town where in the GameStop location they did it. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that I've seen things where just something funny, maybe to close on even. These Reddit people, they like to see people's losses and they like to see people's gains, and they call it gain porn and loss porn. And it's just that, screenshot showing like that this, you made like $100,000 or you lost like $100,000. They like it for everything, and they were actually trolling the hedge fund managers, asking them, they said they wouldn't stop buying the shares of the stock and driving up the price until they posted their loss porn on Reddit.
Sounds like a fair deal, though.
Well, what these are is these remind me of hackers. They just find a loophole in the system or in the programming, a glitch, and exploit it.
Well, you're right in a way, but I look at it more as taking the knowledge that you have of the free market and using it to your advantage. And we want to be careful how we label them because, see, the government right now seems like they're all gung-ho, but you got to remember AOC and Ted Cruz, while they might agree, and wow, you can't believe that they agree, they're both looked at as assholes in their own parties. I mean, let's be real. They're on the outside, right? Nobody from the middle has come out and said from the government.
Well, you mean nobody bought?
What's that? Oh, I don't know. Nobody has come out and said that this has been wrong.
None of the paid for politicians have come out yet.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, probably not. No, I haven't seen a lot of them come out.
They won't either. You're not going to see, you know.
Well, they will when they decide which side is the best way to go for their own
when
pocket.
they see which side is winning and which side gains votes in their party.
Well, these people that did this are in trouble. They're going to have the IRS after them. They're going to be audited every day of the year. They're going to find police pulling them over. It's going to be hell on earth for these people.
Are the kids who did this, what are they, do you think charges are going to be brought against them?
I don't know. They've been saying stuff like that on the television, and it kind of scares me because, I mean, you know, just like some of the people have been saying, maybe Elon Musk, and I don't want to quote him, but it's like, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to cry about these hedge funds and we're going to go after these people when they've been doing this for years, you know?
They did exactly what the hedge funds do.
But unfortunately, they're going to see what side they think this is, because if they've already tried to tie it to alt-right. They've already said it was like right. They had a Discord server for Wall Street bets.
Well, you know, if it's on Reddit, it's alt-right, right? I mean,
I don't know. I'm on Reddit, and I'll tell you, I think it's more
Reddit cleaned itself of anything that had Trump's name in the description.
Yeah, you know, my thing with the whole politics is I don't really get into my personal things that much because I of my job, but I just try to go with the whatever's going to make me the most money. So I guess it makes me as bad as a hedge fund, but I guess along the way I'm trying to be a little ethical about it. So that's kind of like my philosophy. So I'm
you're just playing the game that they invented.
Is that correct, Dave? Would that be chaotic neutral for the Dungeons and Dragons crowd?
Lawful good, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, my politics, everyone knows by now I'm an anarchist, so.
Okay. Well, I have to watch who I associate with now that there's a lot of digital surveillance going on and tying people back to things. You know, I heard there was something that went on at the Capitol a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. A lot of people are getting in trouble over that. But that's just what I'm wondering. What could they charge these kids from Reddit with?
Market manipulation, I guess.
I mean, could they? Would it stick? Honestly, would it stick, or could it stick?
I don't see how it could. I don't see how it could, because they're not institutions, so they're not bound by the rules that institutions have, and nor should they be. Yeah, and we have free speech in this country. We can say
that's right. That's like well, they would have to say, well, no longer as a private person can you buy stock in anything. And their argument could be, well, I followed these guys on Reddit and they gave me advice to do this. And you can't say it's all right wing, because left wingers want to kill the market manipulation also. They probably honestly want to kill it more than the right wingers. The right wingers look more at how the banking is corrupt from the Federal Reserve side, where the left wingers look at it as someone's making more money than someone else side.
But I believe to be correct, yes.
But they want to kill it too. I mean, Occupy Wall Street was almost exclusively left.
Yeah, well, that's what the beauty of this is, because when it comes to money and things like this and being screwed, the hedge funds aren't left or right. They screw everybody equally.
Yeah, so they're apolitical.
You have actually got right wingers, left wingers, middle, everybody. See, this is not a thing. I have not seen anybody try to, you know, if you go to Wall Street Bets and the people that are posting on there, they're not talking about Trump, not talking about Biden. They're not talking about that new press secretary or anything like that. They're talking about what's going on with these hedge funds. They're talking about the market. They're talking about manipulation. And, you know, it's really cool because it's actually something that everybody can get down with. We own this, man. This is our market. This is supposed to be a free market. So, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, silent things that have changed, the world. I think the internet, I think blockchain is going to be one of them. And I think this is going to push that blockchain closer. And I think that this is going to, expose a lot of stuff. I just hope that people don't get too conspiracy theory with it, because there is a lot of, I've even had some crazy thoughts about like, GameStop, like game over to these billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, it's like too good to be true, using GameStop to get back at these billionaires.
That would be awesome though.
No, that's going to be the next Q drop. I hate to even, say that on air, but yeah, so we'll see,
you can go conspiracy on here. I enjoy that.
No, stuff. I know. I have no conspiracies except for, I think Q was a PSYOP, and it stands for quack. And they wanted to identify everybody that got down with the cause, so then they could give them a digital stamp and they can watch.
Or it kept, what it did is every event, it kept their mouth shut because they just say, trust the plan.
You're right.
So something would happen and people would start getting up in their seats going, oh, okay, what the hell? Do I need to make a fuss? And Q would come out and say, trust the plan.
There's another one. Maybe it was just Michael Flynn shit posting. Come on.
Yeah, it could have been.
It was probably some guy shit posting. I'm being honest. But anyway, let's not. I don't want to get into
I hope we find out it was a 9-year-old kid that after his parents went to bed would go and log on to the family computer secretly, just under like a lamp down in the front room, and he's clacking this information out, hitting send or putting it on a timer so it sends when he's at school. That's what I hope.
So let me ask you a question. Has my video come up this entire time? No.
Nope, correct? It hasn't this entire time.
Now I just looked at my thing and it says driving mode, and it must be because I'm in my car, and I guess this thing is like the nanny state now. It won't even let me have video in my car.
Yeah, you can probably turn that off somewhere deep in the system, but it's okay. The information is what counts. I mean, Well,
I had fun coming on, man. I mean, I don't want to.
Before we cut you loose, can I ask you a few more questions? We have a couple of comments coming in.
Wow. Okay.
Not a whole bunch, but Carl jumps on and he says, I knew you were going to talk about this. He got $500 on it before Robinhood stopped the buying. So good on you, Carl. I hope this ride's prosperous for you and your young family. But he also says they're getting in trouble for allowing only the sale of these stocks, and that's something you mentioned. And he was going to buy more, but they
nixed it,
dumped the market. But then he mentions Dogecoin, and Dave talked about Dogecoin. Now, I've never heard of Dogecoin. I'm not into a lot of cryptocurrency. I think I have a couple $100 in Bitcoin that I bought over time, but I've never got into a lot of it.
Well, this is where they're trying to actually do the same thing to a cryptocurrency, but I don't know if it works the same way, because you can't short a cryptocurrency to the point where you're buying more cryptocurrency than really exists, unless exchanges, the people in the middle, are fudging.
That's not actually correct, Dave, because
they can't fudge them, because if the cryptocurrency is on a blockchain, they can't fudge them, right?
But you can buy and sell. I know that you can buy and sell cryptocurrency long and short on Coinbase. I'm almost positive you can buy both. Oh
shit! So you can buy cryptocurrency that, if you think it's going to drop, or that hasn't been created yet, like on a speculation?
No, it's not that it hasn't been created yet. So you wouldn't have the problems where there would be more than 100% of the outstanding being able to be shorted. But I do believe that there are exchanges that let a person step in the way and take that trade short.
Oh.
And if I wasn't on with you guys, I would say, hey, Google. And I would say, can you, trade Bitcoin short? And I believe the answer is that, yes, there are some exchanges that are doing it because they make a fee off it. They make a fee off the transaction.
That's shady practices, if you ask me.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why. I mean, because it costs them something to do it, and they're actually providing a service. They're allowing the short to happen.
As long as the product really does exist and they're not going 100% over the amount that they say they have.
You're absolutely right. I believe that as long as everything's transparent, Jared, that's what I meant. I didn't mean to cut you off and say no. As long as everything's transparent, then there's nothing wrong, right? If say it's 3 cents per transaction, if you know you're going in, you're paying 3 cents per transaction. That's what you're paying. That's as long as there's nothing like hidden or shady. I don't think there should be any. You should be able to take a position on the downside. Why not? It's free market.
All right. So what's this Dodge coin?
You know what? That is something that I don't know a lot about, except for it was pretty much a worthless coin. I thought it had something to do with Elon Musk or the dog or something. I think it's a dog. I think it's like I don't even really know much about it.
Let me interject here. Dogecoin is one of the 3 main coins that existed in the beginning. So first there was Bitcoin. Then there was Litecoin. Then there was Dogecoin. He's one of the original ones, but it was just what they called a meme coin. The person who created it thought the whole cryptocurrency thing was kind of weird and just wanted to do it just to do it and kind of make a joke of it. And, well, eventually he moved out of the project, and then the project took a life of its own. And here we are. Right now, a Dogecoin is worth 5 cents or something like that. I know that back when I was buying them, you couldn't even put 10 of them together to scratch a penny. So, but this is the way Bitcoin started too.
Yeah, Bitcoin started low, so it's exploding. If they decide on a cryptocurrency, how do you think that will be decided? Like by the Federal Reserve, or
I doubt that.
I have no idea stuff like that. I just kind of looked into Reddit today to get ready for this. I don't know. I think cryptocurrency is really gonna. I think it's gonna take off.
I think it is. We've got to get cryptocurrency into stores or into. Imagine if just PayPal or Venmo or something would do complete exchanges with cryptocurrency. Or even one credit card company would allow you.
The problem is that you wouldn't need PayPal or Venmo.
Well, yeah, but the thing is the access to cryptocurrency. Where cryptocurrencies hold up is I can't easily go buy my toilet paper today because tomorrow's going to be the collapse, and apparently that's the currency. I think that's going to be the currency of the future is toilet paper, but that's just my opinion. But I can't easily use that. And yes, there are some limited services but I can't go down to my local grocery store and exchange Bitcoin for what I need right now easily. I have to engulf myself in a new learning curve.
What's the difference between that and gold?
Well, you can't do that with gold either, and I don't want gold to be the backer. Gold is too usable nowadays. It's in all your electronics. That's why I don't want it to be the backer. I would rather a Bitcoin, but what I'm saying is I think Bitcoin would have taken over by now had some medium of direct exchange been brought to life, been brought up on it. And I want to see it happen. I want the Federal Reserve pulled out of the market because the Federal Reserve is doing that market manipulation themselves, where the money gets created, it gets inflated, and it gets given to the banks first, and then the banks get to do loans on it, and then they have other laws they get to follow.
They're shorting the taxpayer,
like fractional reserve and all that.
Let me just give you a theoretical. So, yeah, that's why Bitcoin is so attractive to a lot of people, and people are thinking it might take over as the backer, the main currency of maybe the entire world, is because it's finite like that. It has an end. Gold has no end. As technology gets better, in fact, they can mine more gold and things like that, and that actually can drive the price down. As more is coming out of the ground more efficiently, it actually drives the price of gold down. But
even then, what if we learn atom manipulation? We'd be able to make it.
Exactly. And then how would you store value? And
Mm-hmm.
currently, the way the world stores value, I hope you all know this, is in the US dollar primarily.
Yep.
Petrodollar, baby. Every barrel of oil in this world is traded in a US dollar. And
Yep.
that's the
And
reason
there have
why.
been nations overthrown for threatening that.
There's been that, and yeah, and the one next door just for fucking good measure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally down with that. But I do have to say I have to shoot out because I promised my wife I would
Yeah.
be off.
Hey,
45.
thanks for your time. I understand it's late. Everyone, Evan's calling to us from a different time zone, so he's up awful late tonight to bring us this information.
Yeah, I'm out on the East Coast. It's 29 degrees here, and it's supposed to be get down to like 10 tomorrow morning. So we're gonna be a little cold here in New York.
Oh, we got video on now, so we can see what he looks like. So if
That's
I take a minute, I'll quickly do a quick share of what he looks like. And thanks for coming on, man.
Any more questions though before I go? You know, anything? I just
No, you're good. I'd like to have you on another time to do kind of, if you wouldn't mind doing like a breakdown of if people want to get into investing, to kind of give them some advice one time.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd also like to maybe come on in like 2 weeks and let's talk about what happened with GameStop and what changed.
Do an aftermath report.
I mean, why not? I mean, I'm making some pretty bold claims that this is going to change the world, and I don't think it's going to take 2 weeks. Let's put it that way.
I think you're right. This has been kind of shattering to everyone.
I think tomorrow's going to be an interesting day on the old stock market.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah. I hope that. I don't know. I don't know what I hope for. I would like to see some honesty brought into our currency.
There you go.
I would like to see that. I
Wouldn't
mean,
hurt.
but
what I will say before I go though is, don't ever invest more than you're willing to lose. All right, guys and gals and everybody, don't ever, don't go out and mortgage. I heard there's people that mortgage their house and bought this shit, just recently and stuff like that. Don't do anything like that.
You've got to treat it like it's gambling.
Now you tell me, Evan.
You've got to treat it like it's gambling. Don't go to out here. Don't go to Nevada out there.
Yeah.
Don't go to Atlantic City.
But you know what the Redditors will tell you? They just say YOLO, baby. You only live
once. You can't take it with you when you die, and we're all going to die.
I just sold my car for Dogecoin.
All right, pals. You know what? This is the first time I've ever been on any kind of thing like this other than at work, where I give I'm an auditor, so I give kind of like financial advice sometimes to people at work, but I haven't never done this, on the internet like this. It was pretty cool. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well,
and I hope
you're on live right now with a couple of listeners, so, and then you'll be on YouTube and
all right.
BitChute and all the other stuff.
Like graffiti on the walls of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have you back on, definitely. So let's plan on you coming on in 2 weeks. Let's chat about this some more.
All right. It was really nice meeting you too. And David's my one of my oldest friends, closest friends. So
yeah, I can tell you got the accent from up where Dave's from.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. You take her easy.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. Well,
so you know what? I'm not a financial advisor either, but right now, I'm going to tell you what. Dogecoin, 5 cents each. What if? Just like, what if Dogecoin goes to $20,000 like Bitcoin did one day?
That would be pretty insane.
And it's a great deal. Everybody's got their eyes on it right now. It's easy to use in the crypto community. Go get yourself some Dogecoin, people.
Some Dogecoin. Now, okay, Dave, if someone wanted to buy some Dogecoin, how would they go about it?
Well, that's a little. You gotta. All right. So, if you want to find a cryptocurrency, the best way to do it is to go to CoinMarketCap.com.
CoinMarketCap. We need to make sure that goes in the notes.
and do some research on where it's being sold. So a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges cannot sell certain coins in America. So the best way to actually buy cryptocurrency is to not be in America. And the best way to not be in America is to have a VPN. So get yourself a VPN. Make yourself an account on Binance.com or something like that, and go shopping. You usually need Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency to exchange on those exchanges because you can't send them money if you're in America. So, a lot of people are just using VPNs to get around all these government regulations of freedom and prosperity, right? And, hey, if you can get yourself some Dogecoin right now, I highly recommend it. I see this one coming up. It's actually kind of late. I think it's well overdue for Dogecoin to be $1. Well overdue. And, it's got solid architecture. The blockchain is old and well secured. People are mining on this thing, and that makes it safe to trade with from back and forth from wallet to wallet. It's going to be a good cryptocurrency, and it's so cheap right now.
Yeah, it's climbing up. Yeah, so thanks for joining us, everyone. If you guys have any questions or comments on anything, shoot them off to us. We'll try to find the answers. I know jack shit about all this stuff. Dave's got a good handle on the cryptocurrency market. He knows about all that. And Evan, of course, has a good handle on the finance market. I know how to click a mouse and talk shit. That's my value I bring to this show. But if you have any questions or comments, shoot them off. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have Evan back on. And I seriously do want to do like an investment show, but we never know. In 2 weeks, the investment world might be completely different.
Mm-hmm. And if you seriously do need to get yourself into the crypto market, you really have that desire, yes, you can reach out to me. Just look for me on Facebook. I'm here.
Yeah, give Dave a call or a message on Facebook, whatever, and I'll make sure Dave puts his contact link for himself in the show notes, so you can actually go to the show notes, click a hyperlink, it'll take you right to him, and then you can shoot him a message. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let's see what the market does tomorrow. We may actually jump on early next week if it's gone super crazy. We may jump on quick just to talk about the craziness. There's a lot of stuff going on politically, economically. Zombies will be running around soon. Me personally, I've made my investment in precious metals. I think under any circumstance, that's a good idea. And when I say precious metals, I mean brass, lead, copper,
and boats.
Yeah. Well, that damn boat went down, took all my weapons with it. But anyways, yeah. Now, another question. John H. Train says, how much will GME sell for tomorrow, Dave?
I'm going to go with $1.
What's GME? Is that the
GameStop? Is that GameStop? Or GameStop?
I don't know. We don't know what GME is, John.
I'll be honest. I don't really deal too much with the stock market.
I
just feel it's too crooked.
I've never really dealt with it. It's something I don't dive into it usually unless I know a lot about it. And, apparently I've never dove into it, so I don't know a lot. I mean, I've got my 401ks tied up into some of that stuff, and I don't know what control I have over that. I should probably check on that and become a real adult one day, but I'm still GME is GameStop. How much will GME sell for tomorrow? Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully thousands. I'm hoping thousands.
If they opened it back up and it ran, it might be insane.
Everybody wants a share of this now.
It might be insane. I mean, that's my question. Do I want to share this? If I bought some, it would be just to make a point.
I mean, I just want to go down to GameStop right now and take my picture with the
standing
cashier,
out front. Right? Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, it's I don't know. We should have posed that question to Evan before he jumped off, but he had to go because he's got a wife that dearly needed him in bed, and it's like negative 500 degrees in New York right now, and so he's her sort of source of heat.
Better him than me.
Yeah. But thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday, but we may be back maybe through this weekend one night. Reddit is saying it's going up because hedge funds need to pay them back tomorrow. Yeah, hedge funds might be buying it just to hedge their own mess that they got themselves into. And other hedge funds might be, jumping on that bandwagon. Just, I don't know. But
will it be more than Bitcoin? I doubt it. But I'll tell you what, I'm sure if hedge funds need it, they're going to have to get it.
Oh, that's
Remember,
insane.
These powerful people, they have special privileges with the government. They don't follow the laws the same way we do. The net of the law is there to catch the little fish, not the big fish.
The question is here's another question. Can they get a bailout directly from the Federal Reserve without having to go through the government to get it? Without having to go through Congress and the Senate to get it?
Those hedge funds fund the campaigns of our dear Congress.
Well, yeah, but if it goes through them, it's on public record. If it goes directly through, let's say, the Federal Reserve, as a part of this last bill that didn't get through the way it was told it was going to get through and got changed, was there a buffer in there that they can go directly and get it through?
Well, let me say this. If you're a congressman or a hedge fund manager out there and you're posed this question and it keeps you up at night, I just want you to contact me. I might be able to help you out. I know about Monero and Zcash and all these other wonderful things that'll probably help your endeavors.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining us, everyone. If we jump on again, it'll be impromptu, but we have slow starts around here. If we tried doing a YouTube live, I don't think my computer's man enough to handle the software being running twice at a time.
Yeah, 2 feeds at once. That's a lot to do.
So I'm going to figure out a different system to do that. Actually, I've already got one in mind. So we will make that happen. But, just keep an eye out. We may jump on non-advertised if something big goes down, but you can plan on us coming on if something big goes down. My other show is coming on tomorrow night, and we'll talk about this a little more tomorrow. Not as in depth, but we're going to look at the conspiracy side of stuff tomorrow night with what's going on my other show on the WoW Pod. So thanks for joining us. Any questions or comments, you can email them to me, Facebook them to me, whatever. You can email, Facebook them to Dave. And if you want to get in touch with grabbing a hold of some cryptocurrency, give Dave a call. His link will be in the show notes. His link and whatever other information he feels comfortable giving out. Social Security, phone number, date of birth, things like that. But yeah, get a hold of him, jump into it. I do believe it is high time we go to a different currency. The question is, would the United States survive a currency change as the way it stands? And that I don't know. I don't know if we're not using an oil-backed currency, would it survive? Well, we went to the oil-backed because we did away with the gold-backed.
Well, thanks for the beer either way.
Yeah, either way. Hey,
this
and
is currency right here.
I'll still be brewing beer.
Coming back.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a wonderful night, and we will we'll see you at the very latest Thursday.